So we left off with the coalition with the grassroots group admins. And this is just something that we work in conjunction with them to reach more people. It's a great coalition to have. Now, there's also a grassroots page, not to be confused with the group. Wikipedia team. Now, this seems like something trivial, but most people, when you go to search for anything, you go to Google, you type in the search term, first thing that pops up, if it has a website, that might be there, but usually it's going to be the Wikipedia entry. And now in some of the search engines, it pops, the Wikipedia entry up on the top right. And when people were logging in to go look at, when they were clicking on Wikipedia to go look at the Constitution Party, they were seeing that we were a dominionist, theocratic, isolationist party, and just a lot of unpleasant descriptions. So what we had to do was go in with a group of people and try to be as factual as possible. And if you've ever fought with people on Wikipedia to keep an entry, monitored, oh my goodness, it is a task. These people, it's like they live with Wikipedia notifications on their phone going off. Someone just changed your Wikipedia entry. They just edited your last entry. And, and you have to try to be, as objective as possible. We can't go and sing the praises of the Constitution Party. We just have to state facts on there. And because you're not supposed to have people who represent the entry in Wikipedia. So if it's an entry about Delta Airlines, you can't have Delta Airline employees updating the entry, or they'll kick them out. So we have a group of people who were staying on top of that. Now, I haven't looked at it today. There's probably some of you out there looking right now. It could be back to being a horrible entry again, but they were keeping up with it pretty well. Every time that I had checked it, I would go and check it about once a week, and it was a favorable, as favorable as it could be. It was a favorable entry for us. It wasn't something that would steer people or veer people away from the party. It was something that people could say, okay, well, now I'll click on their website and go look there. So that's an extremely positive thing. All right, the Twitter team, like I said before, that was severely lacking. Mrs. Melanie McDonald of Connecticut has graciously taken charge of that this week and be improving, so I apologize for that. I've dropped the ball there completely. Instagram and other alternate social media sites, they're severely lacking as well. I created an Instagram account since that's quite popular with younger folks. I've made a few posts on that, but I need someone younger who is more familiar with these things to take over that account and to utilize the social media council that you saw on that chart, to utilize that in order to approve their pictures that they post on Instagram. Compatibility block outreach. This is what gentleman here from Nevada was talking about when he was asking me about going with 2A groups or pro-life groups, that type of thing. This is in place. We need more volunteers, even though we have 120 people in there in that group. We still need more volunteers because on any given day, I may have people in half of the group respond. So it's we're not getting them all shared when we do use it, and we're not using it nearly enough. It requires an extraordinary amount of effort to make that run. So we need volunteers on it, if any of you have extra time during the day. All right. There is an education station on the website where we like to put links that people can go to learn more about the Constitution. This has things such as Mrs. Cynthia's Homefront. Her podcast is on there. The Castle Report, which hopefully we'll start seeing again soon. Scott Bradley's webinars, his weekly webinars are on there. So this is something that it is in place, and I'm constantly working with Scott on setting up some periodic videos. We want to do, if you've ever seen like those PragerU videos, some of them are great, some of them are kind of neoconish, but they're effective. They're 5-minute videos. They're just long enough to provide enough information, but they're not so long that people don't want to take the time to watch it. They're the perfect time length. Working with Scott to try to get something like that going that we can post as a party. State Party Startup Help Committee. This was to help people like Mrs. Melanie McDonald in Connecticut, or Mr. Mario that is in Massachusetts. People are trying to get their state parties organized and set up, which is a daunting task, I've been told. And it's one of those things where you walk in and look and you're just overwhelmed with what all you've got in front of you. And if there's nobody there helping you, if there were somebody there helping you, it might help you along. So we want a committee to help those people out. And we also need area, chairmen helping out with those types of things. That's something that they should be doing as well. So we haven't started on that yet. When I did send around an email to all the state parties, that I got one response. Thank you, Doug Aiden. I appreciate that. He volunteered to help. So if we could get some more volunteers for helping, if you've ever been involved in a state party and starting up a state party, please, we could use your assistance. State grassroots groups. If your state did not have a group on Facebook, I took the liberty of starting one, and it's grassroots, as we were talking about earlier, so it's not officially a party sanctioned thing, and I did that before I was in this position. But those are made, but we're lacking manpower and effort to grow them efficiently. Some of them, the state chairmen are in the groups and they're running them, and that's awesome. They've taken off. Like Texas, for example, has close to 100 people. I know Utah's state one is doing okay. There's a few states that are doing great. And a youth committee. Now, this is not set up yet. I'm still in search of appropriate leadership. I was hoping for someone like a Caleb. I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen Caleb Waters on there. I was hoping for someone like that, but then he turned into an anarchist libertarian. So I'm just waiting for the right person to overtake this. And with younger folks, it's kind of hit or miss. We need them, but we need someone that isn't going to take off with our group and turn it into something we're not, in a couple of months. So but it's going to be something very important. We are gearing towards converting some of those younger folks that are interested in us. A party app is something that we want for the party. You can download the app to your phone. Hopefully we could do a free one. If we get extra money between now and 2020, it would be something that would be great to do. Paul Blasson, the state chairman for Mississippi, can do this at cost for us. So this is something that is definitely a definite for 2020. We absolutely need this for the 2020 presidential campaign, but it's something that would be nice to have in the meantime as well. State and local resource pages. Karen Murray had this on the old website. I'm not sure what year that was from, but she had it set up where people could come in with a certain permission setting for the state leadership, and they could go in and, hey, I like this PDF image here. I'd like to print out, 20 copy of these. So they would download that, print out their things, and pass them out at a flea market or wherever they were going to be handing things out. Now, a lot of people sit back and don't understand what is ahead for us as far as other parties. We talk about how we're the 5th largest party in the nation, and we're one of only 5 national parties. Something that Scott Copeland back there mentions every time someone says that. He says, "Yeah, but there's only 5 of us. We're the 5th largest. It's not a great thing." So And we have people coming. They're gunning for us right now. We have the Veterans Party of America, which is a center. They call themselves a centrist party. They're 3 years old. They're the fastest growing party in America. They have a very marketable name, veterans. They promulgate constitutionalism. We know that they're pro-choice, they're pro-abortion, so they can't possibly be constitutionists, but they claim to be. They have an organization, I wouldn't say a party, but they have an organization in all 50 states. They surpassed Mr. Hoefling's America's Party in ballot access in 2016 as a rookie party. They are secular and socially liberal, but they avoid calling attention to it. The Federalist Party. Now, this is a new one for a lot of people in here. I've mentioned this a few times, and people weren't aware of what they are. J.D. Rucker, a Christian conservative writer, has started this party. He began marketing it last year. I think he spoke with Frank. Correct me if I'm wrong, he was kind of looking to take over and make money for himself kind of thing. Okay. But he's a social, he's the things that we were lacking, though. He's the things that we were lacking, like the social media strategist and internet marketer. I mean, the guy, this is what he does. He's a writer, and he does those things as well.
That's what makes his living.
Yeah, that's how he makes his living. So he's a professional at it. This guy's constantly running sponsored ads on Facebook. Every time I log in, I see a sponsored ad for the Federalist Party up there. They were launching after, this is from the December 26th meeting, they were launching after the beginning of the year. They actually launched a little early. They launched towards the end of December, around Christmas time. And he has heavily criticized us for squandering opportunity, that we had an obsolete social media and marketing practices, and for not being larger after a quarter of a century. And he was right. That, with those aspects, nobody really, can deny that. Except for the squandering opportunity. I think we took advantage of a lot of opportunity that has helped us tremendously. So, this is an update for the parties on our hills. I also had mentioned last meeting that the Working Families Party, I said the Working Families Party, I had never heard of it. They have elected 3 state legislators in special elections, and they are only one, if I'm not mistaken, they're about 10,000 official members behind nationally. Now, that's an ambiguous number because some states don't count, but still, they're showing 10,000 members nationally behind us. That's not a widespread. So we may be saying 6th largest party soon, if they become a national party. The Federalist Party, they are a very real direct competitor of ours in this. I hate to use that word, but that's exactly what it is. They are competing for our people, and they have taken our people. I'll address that in a moment. Their Facebook page is only 5,000 likes behind us. Now, that doesn't mean anything except that, because he's constantly sponsoring ads, he's gaining exposure. They have a very vague 5-plank platform. And our supporters that are leaving us for him don't seem to care about that. Because, trust me, I call attention to it. The platform is we're pro-guns, we're pro-Constitution. I mean, very, very vague platform. And things of that nature. And again, they're gaining steam and people just don't care. Their marketing focus is on digital advertising and local elections, at times backing candidates from other parties. They've recently been courting disgruntled Christian and right-leaning libertarians, even though they should have very little in common. And that's something that we should always be doing because that's us. That's our people. But right now, we should definitely be concentrating on it. He stays on top of current events. I mean, he's a writer. And at times, not even taking a firm position on the current events, but he's addressing them. You know, he's showing that they're relevant. And at times, he's even just asking for the opinions of his supporters. He didn't say anything about the bombing in Syria being, unconstitutional or anything of that nature. He asked what people thought about it, but he addressed it. Now, we had a video come out about that, but and a piece from Mr. Castle, but on a lot of current events, we aren't addressing them, and that's something that we've been talking about. And I know Mr. Stuffelbeam is looking at starting back up with some podcasting. Mr. Castle is looking at hopefully, addressing current events in the near future again, and Mr. Bradley, or Dr. Bradley does as well. So I'm hoping that this changes and we start having a lot more material to be putting out to people in the near future from the party or party members. And the Veterans Party of America, their centrist party, again, calling for conservatives to assist with petitioning efforts in the upcoming special election for Alabama's vacated U.S. Senate seat. And that's something we're going to be working really hard to get going in Alabama. But I only put this in here to point out that they aren't like America's party, where they pop up every 4 years and, hey, we're a real party. No, they're trying to be a party every year. They're still working on ballot access every year and that type of thing. And they're working on ballot access now in one of the toughest states in the nation. So what do we need? We need individual participation. This is all of us. Whether you're an executive committee member, whether you're just an admirer and supporter of the party, we need help. State participation. Like I said earlier, states, this helps you. Helping the national party helps you, and national helping the states helps national. We need leaders to join the causes. We need interstate support. And that's actually something that Mr. Riccardi was talking about yesterday. He wanted to get support from the entire party. Yes, he's running for New Jersey governor, but he wanted to address everyone, because we all need to be behind this and all need to be supporting our New Jersey governor candidate. We all need to be addressing these things. So interstate support in the party is something that we really need to focus on. Understanding that national is not rich. You guys got the same financials that I got on my table. And I can't count the times that I hear from state, not necessarily state party chairs, I'm just talking state leadership in general. National doesn't help us. National never gives us anything. And I think Randy addressed earlier, that's the state's job. We're here to do certain things. I won't try to take time doing that, but just understand that and look at that paper, for a national political party, that's chump change. I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing. And we all need to be pitching in, and not only fundraising for our states, but for national. Participate in national fundraising projects if you'd like to see us approach this perceived richness by promoting things such as the Howard Phillips Legacy Society. This is something that Frank addressed a little earlier, and I think Mr. Peter Jim is going to be addressing this shortly as well. But it's a great way to raise money nationally for us. And I'll be talking about a proposed amendment shortly, which is another way to get more people involved in the party and to raise funds in a way that we haven't raised funds yet. This was supposed to be break time, so I'll keep going. All right, so in the room, I may not get any answers on this, but who spent the most money on the trip today? Just throw anything. $2,000. Has anybody spent $1,000? on the travel, food, $1,000? Anybody over 1,000?
I just want to say, because of the close proximity, I probably spent just about the least. And that's a change, so I'm thankful.
How fast can I'll try. All right. So I've heard 1,000 from a few people. I know that several hundred is probably $500, $600 if you got a room or whatever. That's easy to do. If you had a flight to get here. Now, if you talk to, if we could get the people from Alaska out here or Hawaii out here, those guys would be looking at several grand. How many state chairmen do we have in attendance? I hope to see a huge number. So we have 8 or 9? Yeah, I think we have 9. So we have 9 state chairmen in attendance today out of, well, we don't have 50 state parties, but what do we have? Maybe 25? Okay, 9 out of 27, so a third of them. How many area chairmen or co-chairmen? All right, so 3. Now, this is national area, not like a regional in your state or whatnot. 2. Okay. Now, we know someone within the party who would like to have come today, but could not afford it for financial reasons or for family reasons or anything of that nature. I can list literally hundreds, including my own state chair. Now, I told you that we do polls in our websites, in our Facebook pages and groups. This was grassroots polling with regards to meeting or convention methods and frequencies. And I put this up here so everyone could see the actual wording of this, so they could see the entire post, so that they could see that it wasn't geared to to make someone choose one thing over another. This was just a straight up, here are some options as far as methods and frequency of meetings and conventions, as far as physical versus web meetings, web conferences, and conventions every 2 years or every 4 years. So this poll is in regards to our party's national committee meetings and conventions. Our current bylaws calls for a convention every 4 years. A convention is the only venue in which the scope is not limited in regards to what can be voted upon. They also call for at least one yearly physical committee meeting, as well as another meeting by way of digital conference or physical meeting. In order to vote, one must be appointed as delegate from their respective state or be voted as a regional chair, vice chair, former presidential nominee, or an executive committee member at large appointed by the national chairman. Appointed state, that should be national committee members, but I listed it as state delegates. Appointed state delegates must pay national dues of $100 per year and have paid them in order to vote on resolutions or bylaw changes or items presented to the party. The average total cost, including motel, food, and travel for an attendee, cost anywhere from $70 or $75 for a meal to several thousand. Because I did hear someone say that they went to it cost them $2,000 the last one. Depending on the circumstances and the length of travel. Currently, we have 2 physical meetings per year and a convention every 4 years. The meetings are alternated between West and East and or Central U.S. Please choose from the following poll options on what your preferences are for the frequency of meetings and conventions, as well as the type of meetings. If you will never be able to realistically attend no matter what, please vote such. So you can see that the poll didn't lead anyone to choose any poll option. It wasn't biased in any way or anything of that nature. And here were the options. A convention every 2 years, a committee meeting 2+ times per year, only once physical. A convention every 4 years, committee meeting 2+ times per year, only once physical. I worded this one poorly, but I don't care because I won't ever be able to attend. Doesn't mean they don't care. I should have worded that one a little differently. Convention every 4 years, committee meeting twice per year, physical meetings both times, as is, to the way we do it now. Convention every 4 years, committee meetings only twice per year, physical meetings once every 2 years, and convention every 2 years, committee meetings twice per year. So a lot of different options here. I tried to give an option for every way it could possibly be. Overwhelmingly, even with all of these choices, 74 out of 118 people that voted for a convention every 2 years, the committee meeting on the off year, 2+ times per year, so at least 2 web meetings, only once physical. That's coming to a place, a central place, and everyone having a physical meeting. All right. So with this, and with various leaders in the party, state leaders, even some executive members, with leadership as far as the unofficial, the people's leaders that are in the grassroots group, we came up with a proposed amendment to the Constitution Party bylaws, and it covered a few different sections. One was to meet more often via web conference at a much lesser cost, was kind of a perk of this. Increased participation by national committee members and executive committee members. 50 people in attendance out of several hundred or thousand people is not a large number for us to be meeting like this. Actually raise funds for the party instead of breaking even. We don't make any money for the party by holding this right here. This makes nothing. We break even to cover the cost of the party to rent this room or whatever, and the meals that they supply us. So we were looking for a way to actually raise funds for the party instead of breaking even, and react quicker to deficiency or shortcomings of the party, which are going to pop up when you're growing as fast, when you go from very small party to what we hope to be one of the major parties, or take the place of the GOP. Make more of our supporters' funds available to the party rather than travel, lodging, food, and other costs incurred when traveling to a national committee meeting twice per year being the expense that they spend them on. And increase the participation of our state parties and their national committee members. Less time wasted with presentations. Now we would still have physical presentations in the one physical meeting per year, but less wasted time with presentations and training. All of that can occur at the annual physical meeting. And kick the perception that the party supporters have that we are ran by an elite few. And that's something that, a lot of people leave the GOP for. A lot of people leave the Republican Party because they feel like there's a plutocracy there that runs everything. If you're not in cahoots with them, you're never going to get anything. It doesn't matter if 99% of the party agrees on a particular topic. If they don't, then it's never going to happen. Proposed amendment cons. These are things that I've heard just in sharing this and hearing different opinions. Now at the time I heard 6 or 7 people that opposed for various reasons when I made this. That we don't need it or it isn't necessary. And if you feel that it's not, then please see the previous slide. This is a classic example of trying to continue with the status quo. It's fear of change. Something that I feared would happen when I gave the presentation last meeting. I was fortunate. Everyone was very receptive that we needed a new social media marketing. We needed new marketing. We needed new messaging. We needed a new website. We needed a more modern view of things, a more modern presentation of things. But this time, that's not the case. Yes. Okay. Isn't there currently a means in the bylaws for removing those who are underperforming? And this is in regards to area chairman and co-chairman. Better question is, how many have ever been removed by those means? If you have an area chairman that's not performing in your area, at any point since the party began, there's never been one removed by the methods that are listed in our bylaws, ever. So, the answer to their question is, you know, of course it may be there, but people aren't going to utilize it. So, voting for this every 2 years is something that, especially with the importance of the position that needed to be there, you know, what we need the position to do as far as being the liaison between national and the states, communicating our national message and so forth. We need someone there who's performing. Okay. Okay. Want me to read through these real quick? Just bust through them? Okay. Will it actually raise funds? How do we know it'll even draw anyone extra into these meetings? Well, we don't know. But if we were on a web conference call right now with those in attendance, only those that are here, not any extra people, the party would be roughly $2,500 richer right now. And we'd all be less broke as individuals. At least 5 from my state would be in attendance on the web conference. I've confirmed that with them. 4 years is a sufficient frequency for party adjustments, isn't it? Not if we're going to grow and remain a top 5 or better political party. Others are gaining fast. We want people to have skin in the game. We don't want to pay for their rooms and food, do we? Because in this proposed thing, we would, now this would be up to the executive committee, but we could actually pay for the motel rooms, the food that we eat while we're here, everything except travel, basically, for our national committee members and state chairmen. So they would still have their skin in the game. They would still have to pay their $100 national committee fees, and they would have to also pay for travel. It will be a logistical nightmare. Doesn't it cost too much? We aren't trying to advertise the razor company that Frank uses to shave. We don't need a clear picture up there. We aren't trying to compete with the Fortune 500 companies' web conferences. Laptop or PC webcams will suffice. This doesn't need to be anything fancy. These would be just like Scott Bradley's webinar if you've ever viewed those. It would be the exact same program. And there would be a year between now and then to prep and plan. And won't we lose the personal interaction? Yes, for 1 of 2 meetings, we would lose personal interaction. Then hopefully we would have our largest turnouts every physical meeting after that. Instead of 50 people showing up, hopefully we would convert that to 100 to 150 or even 200 people showing up to these. Here's a quick chart. I think you guys got it. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't get a copy of this. But it's basically just outlining how many physical meetings, national meetings there are. I won't go over the optional addendums, but there is more to this that we would hopefully address in the next meeting with bylaw changes there. This couldn't be added. This has to be done first before we can consider the others, but they have to do with things such as adding the number of national committee members to states and things like that. Again, this one doesn't do that, but this would be something we could suggest for it to add participation. But as it is right now, we don't have the national committee members that states can have here. We don't have them here. We have one from Alabama where we have, 3 or 4 people that can vote. Thank you very much.